Hi, Fathima.
Hi.
Yep. So
So
as
how many participants are we expecting?
we are expecting around 50.
50. Okay.
So I'll just allow the department people to join first. Are you able to share the screen? Do you have a presentation to
Yes.
share?
No, I'm not able to. There's no option here.
Share screen?
Oh, now I see it.
Yeah.
Now I see it. It wasn't there before.
It wasn't there. Okay.
For some reason. Yeah. Yeah, I can, right?
Yeah. It's coming.
So these are your colleagues, am I right?
Yes, yes, yes. All those who are entering now are my colleagues from the department.
Hello, Divya.
Hi, Fatima.
And she's going to introduce you.
Oh,
Hi,
you're the
Fatima.
most important person then. I better be good to you.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Dipesh.
Hi, Fatima.
Hello.
Good to have you. Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So once we are ready, I'll admit all so that for those who are waiting, we have enabled a waiting room. So once we are ready, we'll just admit everyone. Someone is breathing to the mic.
That's me. I mean, we most probably.
Yeah, maybe you just have to pull it a little down. We'll be able to hear you.
So lower the mic. Means mic piece. Just lower it a little bit. Yeah. Now speak.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can speak in your normal voice. And don't be too soft. Don't be loud. That's what I meant.
Yeah. There is Dr. Praveen Sam also joining us. So I'm just admitting only the department people first. Once we are ready, what we'll do is we'll just start. Deepesh sir, I'll make
Should we wait for the participants to join?
Participants are all there in the waiting room. We haven't admitted. Deepesh sir, you're on mute mode. Mute.
Yeah. How many do we have in the waiting room?
Around 10. So shall I make you? I'll make you the co-host.
And let's not forget that Google sheet. I mean, I just remembered now. For exchanging notes. Yeah. While the thing is on.
Right. Google Doc.
This is for you too, Fatima. If you want to say something to us, instead of using the chat,
We have a
right?
Google Doc.
Yeah, we have that Google Doc, shared Google Doc, which we can use and write notes on. Yeah.
So shall I admit everyone? Shall we begin? It's almost 9:01. So I'm admitting all, and the MC for this event is DJ. No? You're on mute.
DC.
No, it's you.
No, she
TPS. Praveen.
she'll
All
be
right.
introducing the
Okay.
speaker.
Yeah. All right.
Fatima.
All right. So I'm admitting all. There are all.
Cherry, before you admit, will they have the option to use the mic and cam, or they'll be present there? That's it.
Who mean? I mean, they have the
the
option.
participants.
All of them have the
Yeah,
option
so-
to mute.
So because I thought after welcoming, I should tell them not to unmute often.
Yeah. Sure.
Can I move your camera a little bit towards the middle?
Your head is half cut. Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah. I just came up. Yeah, that's okay. I think it's fixed. I think it's just back. Okay, I'm admitting all. Right. All the best, Fatima. I know you'll be fine, but still, I'm DJ and everyone. Over to you, Sam. I'm just admitting everyone. All of them are admitted.
Okay. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Department of English, SSN College of Engineering, I welcome you all for this session on focused attention in classrooms. So before we move on to the session, I request the participants to keep your mic in the mute mode. So as and when there's a requirement, you can switch on the mic, provided if the speaker wants you to do so. So otherwise, your cam is fine, but your mic should be in the muted mode. Thank you. So now I request Dr. Divya Jan to introduce the speaker of this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Praveen. Um, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Fathima Khader. Fathima has 10 years of experience in the education sector, working extensively with children, teachers, and parents in the areas of life skills training, personal development, and child behavior management. She has trained management students on communication, interpersonal skills, and public speaking. She's a commerce graduate with a specialization in import and export management. She has undergone training programs on transactional analysis, emotional freedom techniques, family counseling, life skills, human sexuality, personal safety, and NLP. A passionate life skills facilitator, she headed the life skills training division of Edu Media India Private Limited for over 5 years. She is presently the founder of Evolve Ed, an organization conducting childcare programs for parents and childcare providers across corporates and schools. She has also conducted training programs outside India and trained teachers and parents in the Middle East.
Thank you, Dr. Divya Jan, for this introduction. So now I hand over the session to Ms. Fathima Khader. Over to
Thank you so much, Praveen and Divya. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome all participants. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I would like, I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to be, but I just have a lot of questions for you before I begin with the session. The first one being, Praveen, can everyone just use this chat to write down their responses over here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
they
All
can
right.
use, ma'am. Yeah, they have the
All
option.
right. So if you can hear me, just go to the chat box and say yes. Everybody. If you can hear me. Awesome. Awesome. Everybody head to the chat box. Okay. So I think you all can hear me. So let me ask you a few questions before I begin. So let me just change my view so I can see everybody. My first request over here is to switch on your cameras, please. Switch on your cameras. It's always better for me to see who I'm talking to because anyways, this is a virtual platform. A human connection is what really makes all the difference. And if you have switched on your cameras, it's just so much more easier for me to see you and to hear from you and to read you and to read your responses. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I have a few questions for you. I know you're going to use you with me for 2 hours. Now tell me, how do you want the session to be? Do you want this session to be where I talk a lot and you make notes and you go back? Or would you like this to be fun, playful, interactive, and experiential? So pick up the word that you want the most, go to the chat box and type. Come on, quickly. How do you want the session to be? Experiential. Edutainment session. Interactive. I request everybody here to switch on their cameras, please. It's always nice. Fun and interactive. All right. Okay, so let me begin. I'm just going to share my screen. So Let me begin with a little bit about myself. All right, so can you see my screen? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Praveen, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make this as effective, as relatable as possible, because this can get very technical, especially we're talking about attention and talking about focused attention. But I know that you all are school teachers. I'll make it in such a way that you can go back and start playing around with this concept with your children, because at the end of it, that's what it matters. Yeah. So this is a sort of a quote which I love. He's been my mentor. I've learned a lot from Daniel Goleman, and I've attended a lot of his workshops. I've interacted with his team as well. So what he really says is that we learn best with focused attention, not the attention that we know of. So there's a difference between attention and focused attention. And as we learn to focus, and as we learn to place our focused attention, so there is a lot of difference between focused attention. I'll tell you from where I'm coming and why I love this topic so much. The brain actually learns to wave its way and mold itself to absorb learning. So learning is not something which is consciously done. It is just something which is a state. We're born with it. It's a it's a skill, it's an attitude, it's a state, it's just something that we already have. But the thing is, we're not, or children are not able to learn because there are these fundamental principles that we as teachers don't understand, and we are basically knocking on the wrong doors. Yeah. And I love this quote by William James as well, which says that, the education of attention is education par excellence. So that means if you don't understand attention, you won't understand what education is. If you don't understand attention, you won't know what learning is all about. Yeah. So the focus over here and the shift over here is, let's try and look at learning in a different perspective, and let's look at learning focused attention as one of the primary fundamental principles of learning. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off and on with sharing, because I would like this to be a more interactive one. So now I'm just figuring out how to stop sharing. All right. So how many of you resonated with that quote? Yes or no? If it's yes, go to the chat box and write yes. Come on. Yes or no? All right. Would you like to, so how many of you would like to actually understand how to work with children's attention? If yes, just write AT, attention, if you really want to know, and if you really want to work with children's attention. How many of you have problem with your own attention? If the answer is yes for both, just write AT. How many of you want to know practices that will allow you to anchor your attention and also help children to ground their attention as well? If yes, go write yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm going back to sharing again. Now, this is where the magic begins. Divya basically shared something about me which is pretty old, but that's okay. Let me just update you with what I do. Okay. And so yes, I have more than 18 years of experience of working in the education space. I work with children, I work with teachers, and I work with adults as well. I'm a mindfulness educator, not because it's a cool thing to do, because everyone's talking about it. So I picked up the topic and I talk about it. No, that's not the reason why I teach. I only teach because I have experienced it. So I have gone through times where I felt that sense of panic and anxiety. That's the reason why I bring in mindfulness into my life. And because I know it has worked so much for me, I somewhere bring it out to my kids, my parents, and my teachers. So that's what I do. Now, in my years of experience, 18, these are just rough numbers. I have touched lives of more than 30,000 adults, that is teachers, leaders, parents, and of course, more than a lakh of children through my group work and sessions and mentoring and through all those processes that I use. These are the kind of lives that I do, and I'm still going with it. I'm also an author of a book called Mindful Pause. This is what this is. I'm an author of Mindful Pause, and I'll tell you why I'm talking about mindfulness so much. I'm also somebody who founded Awakened Learners Hub, and this is a community of educators, parents who are actually learning to be spiritual warriors. So that's what I'm doing right now. I love this topic of attention so much that I actually developed a tool. I developed a tool. I loved it so much. And what is mindfulness got to do with attention? What is attention got to do with mindfulness? The reason why mindfulness is so popular in the education space is because the first thing what mindfulness does is it trains our attention. So that's why it's so popular in the education space. So if you look at universities and schools, they're adopting different ways. It says that it calms the children down. Yes, it's a byproduct of that process, but the skill actually is training our attention. Yeah. So I love this topic so much that I developed a tool and I actually began my research on that tool. Yeah. So I'm also doing my research and my degree and my PhD in it. I'm also a certified leader coach, and I'm certified by Monash University from Australia. So that's one thing that I do. And my mission over here, guys, is to create wise, daring, and compassionate teachers. So that's a little bit about me. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me. So let's begin today's session. So tell me, I'm just going to log off because I want interaction to be on our way. What do you think is our biggest resource? So we have resources. So resources means that when you're feeling cold, you go and grab a sweater, which is like you're reaching out to a resource, something that helps us support us. So if you look at from the internal perspective, what do you think are the most important resources? Now use your chat box to tell me. What do you think are the important resources? Or let me make it more specific for you. If you had to name mental resources, that means something that we use, which is inside us, right? Mentally, maybe emotionally as well. What are these resources that makes us who we are, more human? Go to the chat box and write. What are those internal resources, mental resources? Like I'll give you an idea. Is time a resource? Is time a resource? Is money a resource? Colleagues, friends, resources? Yes, people who we love. Intrinsic motivation, okay? Teacher, the teacher. Satish Kumar, I didn't get the second one. The teacher.
Himself. He means himself.
Oh, himself. Okay, himself. Oh, the teacher himself. Okay, what are your mental resources? As a teacher, you tell me what is your mental resource? Is patience a resource? In your class, you have, let's say, 14, 15 or 20, 25 children, and they're all making a noise. Don't you have to grab that resource to just stay calm and being patient? Is patience a resource? I don't know. I'm just asking you. I'm talking about mental resources. Students, patience. Satish Kumar. Resilience. Yes. Resource is something that you reach out to. When you are in trouble, when you need something, you reach out to these resources to calm down. So I'm in trouble, I'm agitated, I need a friend to calm myself down. Yeah. Or I'm hungry, I need food for me to fill myself, so fill my need. So what is it that you need to reach out to? What is your mental resources? Think critically. Yes, thinking, reflection, thinking out of the box. All right. Isn't your mind a resource? Isn't your mind a resource? And I'm talking about mental. Now, the thing is that we don't really understand the aspects of our mind because we're a little confused about that. But I think the biggest resource over here, especially because of the world that we are staying in and with the virtual platform that we are in all the time, the biggest resource, which is actually diminishing, which is actually being squeezed and juiced out of our system, is attention. Why? Because there's so many distractions. We're just surrounded by noise. We're surrounded by people. We're surrounded by so much to do that the biggest resource over here, which guides us, is attention. Now, tell me very honestly, how many of you as teachers actually have told students, pay attention? Have you told? If yes, go to the chat box and write yes. How many of you have said, pay attention? All right, so we are about 27, so we're few in numbers. So I'm going to make this open to everybody to chat. Martha, can I have Martha, please? If you can unmute. And everybody, please switch on your cameras, because I'm not really talking to a blank screen. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to teachers. I need to see you. I need to read you. And that's how we understand. Martha.
Yes,
Hi, Martha.
ma'am. Yes, hi.
Okay, so when you said pay attention, what did you mean?
Yes, I'll try to get them to listen to me. If I think that they're not listening to me, and perhaps I think that they are focused on something else, I'll try and get their attention back to what I'm saying.
Okay, so that means when you say pay attention to your students, you want students to turn towards you, look at you, and listen to you. Is that what they're saying? That's what you're saying?
I don't, I mean, I wouldn't mind if they didn't look at me, but I'd like them to listen to what I'm saying. Even if they're focused on their books or their textbooks, or if they're looking down at their textbooks or looking at the PowerPoint or whatever, I want them to pay attention to me. You can make out when your students are not listening to you. They have a blank look on their faces. They'll just nod their heads and pretend as if they're listening. So I think it would help me in my classroom if and my teaching if I knew my students were listening to me.
Okay, so have you had any situation in your classroom where you thought that the student is not listening? So he's actually drawing, he's actually doodling in his rough notebook. But the moment you called him, you feel he's not listening. But the moment you called him, he'll actually answer everything that you said. Have you had a situation like that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And he's doodling, huh? He's doodling, he's also talking to someone. He's actually maybe talking to somebody and having a conversation. And the moment you think he's not listening, you call out saying, Rahul, would you just tell me what I just said? Can you just go back a minute and tell me what happened? And he'll be like, you're like, ooh, my God, this guy was actually listening. Have you had situations like that?
Probably multitasking.
Okay, he wasn't multitasking, he was actually listening to you. Yeah. So Martha, thank you. So let's now go with we have Jasmine. Jasmine, are you around? Can you just unmute and switch on the camera so we can see your beautiful face? Is Jasmine around? Hi, Jasmine. Hello. So you tell me, what do you mean when you say pay attention?
Yeah, sometimes like as being humans, we tend to move out of the, sometimes when we are in the class as a student or as a parent, as a teacher, as a human being, we tend to move out of the place where we are. Our mind tends to fly out. And we need to bring them back. Right. Sometimes when we look at the student, we feel that, yes, the child is paying attention, but he may not be. So we just have to snap them out of their where they are and bring them back. So we just call out, pay attention.
So snap them out. And so when you say pay attention, what does that mean as a teacher?
As a teacher, I want to make sure that what I am saying or what I am teaching is going into them. They're able to understand that. And if they are not, I should make sure as a teacher that when I'm taking a topic, it should go into their minds and hearts. And if they are not, they should be able to understand. And if they are not, I should bring them back to the class, or I should make some innovative method or something interesting so that they pay attention. They don't tend to move out.
move out. Okay, please, everybody, if you have a notepad and a pen, please write this word interesting. Okay, so this is a word that I think we need to take back. Interesting, bringing back, because that's what Jasmine said, bringing back. Okay, so these are two words that kind of resonated with me, and we'll just have one more person. Bhavia, are you around? Bhavia.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here, ma'am.
Hi, Bhavya.
Hi, ma'am.
All right. So you can tell me what you mean when you ask your students to pay attention. What does that mean?
Yes, ma'am. Like previous speakers have said, ma'am, paying attention. When I ask them to pay attention, I want them to not get distracted and to listen to what I'm saying and follow.
Not get distracted. Okay, please write this down. Not get distracted and
follow my instructions, ma'am.
Follow your instructions.
Yes, ma'am.
Follow your instructions. So not get distracted, follow your instructions. All right. Okay. So let me now tell you what I have planned for you. Okay, so we'll start with, so the plan for today, I have a plan, and these are the things that I think we need to look at. Number one is understanding what is focused attention. Let's understand this concept, because a lot of times we think we know certain things, but actually when you're practicing, we really don't know. Yeah. So how do we deconstruct attention? What is attention, the concept like, and how do I, as a teacher, bring it into my classroom in a way that I get children to cooperate with me, because that is what is more important thing. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are building that relationship and we're doing everything so that their learning is enhanced, and they get the concepts and they do well in their exams, and and feel good about it. I mean, that's what it is. What harms kids' attention? I think let's spend some time there as well. And we'll talk about methods that you can use to restore attention and what you can do to make it more sharper, stronger, laser light. So that's something that we can do. And we'll do a bit of mindfulness exercises as well, because like I said, the fundamental of mindfulness, the mindfulness is just not meditation. It is meditation for sure in terms of, in terms of the formal practice. I don't know how many of you know mindfulness, by the way. Do you all know mindfulness? If yes, just write yes. Have you heard about mindfulness? Just a question for you. If yes, please write yes, I have heard about mindfulness. If you've heard about it, you may not know. Okay, so Suguna says no. So Swami says yes. Bhavya says yes. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so a couple of you know, a couple of you don't know what mindfulness. So generally mindfulness is seen as a sort of a meditation where you close your eyes and you do this to calm yourself down. Actually, it is just not that. Like I said, it is a kind of a technique, a practice that you do to strengthen your facet of your mind, which is attention. So that's like the fundamental things. If you can know how to work with your attention, you can just meditate anywhere. You don't even have to close your eyes. So that's the beauty of this practice. So that's where I am. So let me just go back to a question that I have for you. Maybe I won't just go back. I'm just going to ask you this question. So I think before we start looking at understanding attention, do you think we need to understand distraction? Is distraction a problem?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think before we understand attention, that means what is this attention all about? We need to understand the thing that is on the other spectrum, that is on the other side, right? So what is distraction? So tell me, what is a distraction? What do you think what do you think distracts you? So forget of the students right now. You tell me, what are the things that may distract you? Write it on the chat box, please. Go ahead. Use the chat box. Come on, interaction. We're going to play a game very soon. What are distractions? What distracts you? When you really want to sit for work, right? You've decided that this is where I need to be. I need to work, but these things distract you. So what are the things that distract you? Social media, right? Food. Yeah, Divya, food distracts you. So every time you want to work, you get hungry. It happens. It happens. How many of you feel that? Divya, is that right? Do you actually feel hungry when you sit to work?
Yes, Renit.
Talking, music, neighbors, surroundings. What do you mean by, Olga, what do you mean by surroundings? Is Olga around? Social media and gadgets, of course. It's a famous one. Is Olga around? If you can unmute, please. Renita, what about you? What distracts you, Renita?
Walking around.
Things around, ma'am. The things around.
Things around. Like
Yes,
something that you can
everything
see.
that's around us.
Everything that is around you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are your
Especially the people.
People? So that means there are conditions outside.
Yeah.
So like noise, food, whatever.
Yes, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you think there are things inside you also that distracts you, like thoughts?
Yes, sometimes.
Temptations?
Your mental health.
Temptations? Yes.
Mental health.
Mental health. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. So you can just mute, please.
Yeah,
Preoccupations, at times books, gadgets. Okay. Now hear me out. Write this down if you want.
Saying like that for us.
May I request all of you to please mute yourself? Thank you. Have you ever noticed when you are wanting to sit to work? Like, for example, you say 9 o'clock, I want to begin my work. Okay, I have certain things to do. You pick up a pen, you pick up a paper, and you note down. If you have a to-do list, you write down everything. And the moment you're sitting for work, you're like, let me just check my mails and come back. Let me just check my Facebook. What's there? It won't take too much time. I'm just going to check what's going to happen. That's all. If someone's liked it or there's any comment that's coming. And before you know it, you lost the track of time. Does that happen to you? Thumbs up if it does. So there's a button on the reaction called thumbs up. Just thumbs up. Please send me a thumbs up if it happens to you. Thumbs up. Or like Divya said, she's starting to work and she's very serious about it. Okay. And the moment she says, let me start my work, she said, gosh, I'm a little hungry. Like, I'm a little hungry. I better grab something. I better keep chips next to me. I better keep some drink next to me. It happens. Yeah. It happens. Yes, Praveen?
Yes, of course.
Food distracts you. Phone distracts us. Noise distracts us. You know what is distraction? We don't understand distraction. We think that distractions are things. Of course, there are these things as well. But distraction is actually, let me just put this slide. So I think that will make sense because you can actually just write this down as well if you. Yeah. Oh, I love this picture. I've kept it hazy because that's how our attention is when we have distraction. Yeah. So distraction is basically something, an action that pulls you away from something that you really want to do. That means you really want to study. You really want to work. You really want to exercise. You really want to complete that project. But something that pulls you away from that, an action that pulls you away from something that you really aim to do, is what a distraction is. So, for example, if you really want to at 9 o'clock sit and start preparing for a lesson, okay, and this is something that you have planned, you want to do it, and you've kept a to-do list. You've kept saying 9 o'clock, and these are 3 things or 10 things that I have to do. And when you've planned, the moment something takes you away from it, it could be food, it could be children calling you, which is again important. I can't really call it as distraction, but there are ways of handling that as well. But if there is noise, if there's music, or anything that takes you away, that is distraction. And the biggest fault over here, let me just quickly zip into what I'm trying to tell you. If you really want to know what pulls you away from work, you also need to know what pulls you back to work. Because the opposite of distraction is actually traction. That means something that pulls you away. And just sit for some time. If you notice, if you just take a pause and actually question yourself, why do I reach out to food? Why do I reach out to social media? Why do I want to go and chat with someone before I start work? If you just pause and just reflect, what really pulls me away from something that I want to do, but there is something else which stands more important. So that means I feel something is more important. That's why I go and pick up that phone. What is pulling me there? And if you notice, the answer is, write this down. We all talk about time management, but actually time management equals pain management. We actually pick up the phone because we're bored, or we're isolated, or we want to feel accepted, or we are just, wanting to know how this one person commented on our post that we have, right? There is some there's some feeling that is pulling us away from something that we want to do. That could be one reason. Or the second thing is that our willpower is so weak that we don't really use it to stay put into something that we want to do. That means we got to do this and we have to do this. This work is important. And I may be interested, I may not be interested, but this is something that I got to do. So we have weak willpower that is somewhere pulling us away from what we want to do. Does that resonate with you guys? Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing. Does that resonate with you? Yes or no? Now I'll tell you from the language of a student. If a teacher is boring, or he's not resonating with what you're saying, you're talking about history. Okay, you're English teachers, you're talking about a lesson. Either you're boring, or the lesson is boring, or the lesson is not resonating with him. You know what the mind is going to do? I'm not going to pay attention here because there's nothing in for me. I rather start going to something else that will entertain me. Somewhere where I can use my mental energy. So they get into daydreaming, they get into sort of distraction that will allow them to move away. They're actually escaping something which they're feeling right now. They're feeling bored, they're feeling isolated, they're feeling disconnected with that subject that they're doing, because you're just probably, telling them and taking them through some content, but they're not really relating to what's being said. So what the mind automatically does is, children are not doing this purposely. Trust me. When they're sitting right over here, they're not getting distracted because they want to get distracted. Trust this. Put this as a principle for you. Everybody who's sitting in your class wants to pay attention. They want to learn. There is nobody in my class with my years of experience that I've worked with teenagers, with adults, nobody who wants to sit in this class, who's in your classroom, who does not want to pay attention. Unless otherwise, they have been wounded by you, they have been bruised by you, where they don't want to sit with you in the classroom because they feel very unsafe. But if there is a sort of a good relationship with you and they're sitting over there, if they're continuously getting distracted, it is not because they don't want to learn. They want to learn. Trust me, they want to, but they just don't know how. They just don't know how. They don't know what they want. And the mind, they're not doing it. They're not getting distracted on purpose. They're not doodling on purpose. They're not pinching somebody on purpose. It is just their mind that is allowing them to do, because that's what the mind actually does. It says, you know what? This is a waste of your time. You better do something that is better for you, that is constructive for you, that is something which is going to give you a sort of entertainment, that is going to calm you, numb your feeling. So what you do, you reach out to phones, or they will start daydreaming. Does that resonate with you guys? Yes or no? Thumbs up if it does. Please remember this. If you don't remember anything from today's class, remember one thing. Do not label your child as a distracted child, or somebody who's just not being able to pay attention because there is some problem with him. No, in fact, all of them in your class wants to pay attention. Trust me, that intention is there, but they don't know what to do. And remember, if they're getting distracted, that means they're running away from something. They're running away from an unpleasant feeling. Okay, so let me just put this slide to you and we'll start playing. We'll go for a game after this because we need to somewhere understand this in an experiential way. Okay, so now take this down. I'm not going to say this. our mind is designed to pay attention to negative experiences. So every time, one of the biggest principles behind distraction is that it is getting pulled away because they don't want to feel what they're feeling right now. They don't want to pay attention right now because they want to escape something. So our brain is actually designed to pay attention to negative experiences more than positive one. Yeah. So this is a sort of a thought for you. And we're coming to something which is, yeah. So I think this is something which I've already said, that distraction is an unhealthy escape from negative feelings. That's what I wanted you to fill it up. So if it's got to do with our negative feelings, how about we playing something which will allow us to experience something more? Is that okay? Thumbs up. Should we play a game? And we'll, because we're doing attention, let's check our attention. Where is our attention? Okay. Are we ready for the game? Thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Come on, switch on your cameras, everybody. Switch on your cameras. Come on, everybody. Because I got to see you. Everyone, switch on your cameras. Okay. At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, all of you will stand up. 1, 2, 3. Stand up. No, 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 no. I think standing up is not a good idea. Okay. What I want you to do is now slow down. Slow down and sit down. Slowly sit down. No, 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 no. Get up, get up. Everybody, please get up. Please get up. Come on, get up. I know you guys are going to hate me. But I can't do much from here. All right. No, no, I think sit down. You guys look so much better sitting down. Everything that I do over here, my darling, it's got a reason. Okay. And I'm going to ask you this reason after this class or in between this class. All right. Okay. Now we'll play a game. And now this is called the appreciation game. And I want you, all of you, to hit the chat box because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And you will, there's no right and wrong answers to this, but you will tell me whatever resonates with you, whatever you feel, whatever you think, you will put that up. And you will then tell me, how is your attention feeling? So that's a question you're going to ask. How's my attention right now after this game? Okay, so before this game, after this game. Okay. So it's an appreciation game. Do you know what appreciation is? Yes or no? Yes or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Do you know what appreciation is? Yeah? All right. Mrs. Fernandez, I love your top, by the way. What is appreciation according to you? Oh, you need to unmute, please. You can unmute and tell me. There's no right and wrong. Okay, we're all on the learning journeys. That's fine. You don't need to give me a definition from a dictionary. I'm not looking. I'm looking for a meaning that is resonates with you, that comes from your understanding. You need to unmute, Mrs. Fernandez. We still can't hear you. No. Can you hear Mrs. Fernandez, or it's just me that I can't hear her?
No,
can you hear her?
No, she has a problem with the mic, I think.
Oh, she has a problem. Mrs. Fernandez, can I suggest something? Could you please write down on the chat box what it means to you? All right. And so at that time, let's ask Sony, Jency. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh, you just called my name out. I'm not testing you. Don't worry about it. Jency.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Tell me, what is appreciation?
Appreciation is something that an encouragement given to the children to do better.
Oh, encouragement to
the children,
do better.
Whoever.
Okay, it looks like you've got two mics open over there, so that's why it's going. Yeah, Jency, thank you so much. Okay, is Divya? I'm just going to call you. Okay, I just like.
We are all seated in the staff room.
You're all seated in the staff room.
When we unmute.
Okay.
Mics,
okay.
When
all
we
right.
unmute, like
okay.
Keep it going.
Okay. So you said appreciation is encouragement. Divya, what does it mean?
Thanking someone also. Right?
Thanking someone.
Yeah.
Okay, thanking someone. Bhuvia, what does it mean to you? Come on, go to the chat box. Come on, guys, everybody. When I ask you a question, everybody runs to the chat box and answers, okay? So no one's sitting quiet. Come on, come on. Praveen says, making students feel proud for what they have performed. For me, it is the most effective motivational tool. Yes, it is. Feeling or expression of gratitude. Fantastic. Rosalind, Mrs. Fernandez says, to encourage them. I love the word encourage. What I was really looking out for a word is acknowledgement. Yeah. Before you appreciate something, you ought to see something, right? Now, I'll tell you from where I'm coming from. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name 4 ridiculous stuff. Okay. And I'm going to ask you to appreciate about complete appreciation and acknowledgement to that. Okay. So do we all have beds where we sleep on? Do you all have beds? We all have beds, right? We all sleep on a bed. We have our own beds. We are all gaddas. Somewhere where we sleep. Awesome.
Yes.
I want you to tell me what is awesome about your bed. I'm not talking about the bed. I'm talking about your bed. Like it's your space. So go to the chat box and tell me what is awesome about your bed. Olga says it's very comfortable. Go ahead, come on, bombard. This is basically a rampage of appreciation. So go ahead and write. You can just go bizarre, just write as much as possible. It won't kick me out when I lean on it. Sherry, that's so true. 7 Heaven, it's so comfortable. You can snug, place to relax, makes me dream. Yes, yes. Go ahead, more, come on. You're writing about your bed. Go ahead, more. My own space, yes. Relaxed and calm. That's right. Do you think that, at least I can talk about from my perspective, my bed is just such unconditional, it's so unconditional, non-judgmental, no matter what state I'm in, it just accepts me the way I am, right? Whether I'm angry, I'm sad, I had a good day, I had a fight, or I'm stinky and, you know, maybe not in a state to be, but it just accepts me the way I am. It's just so unconditional and it doesn't judge me at all. It's like a go-to place for me. And in fact, the bed is also somewhere where we have a lot of tough conversations. Yeah? I think Olga is like really, Olga, does that resonate with you? You fight with your husbands. You actually have a loving conversations with them. You actually instruct your children. You eat on your bed, right? You also work on your bed. You also watch Netflix on your bed. That practically that space is a go-to place for everything. When you're tired, you want to fight with your husband. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Go to bed. Right? Yes or no? If you agree with me. Yes? It's also a place where you rejuvenate, where you unwind. You just wake up, you just go there and wake up in the morning, just feeling so fresh. And it's a place where practically everything happens. People study on it, people have a conversation on it, people jump on it. Like you can see children jumping on it as well. It is just a sturdy go-to place, right? Awesome. Okay, do you all agree? Thumbs up if you do agree. Come on, press thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. Now let me just go to the second one. Okay. We're still trying to see how our attention is right now. The second one. Do you all wear a slipper, like a chappal, Hawaii chappal? What is so awesome about your slipper? Go and write it down. Sony, why don't you just sit down, my dear one? Don't move on so much. Sit down. And I think your colleagues over here have told you before to sit down, but you are not listening. So sit down here and enjoy the session. You're talking about attention here, you see?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Martha says, takes me to places. Come on, come on. What is so awesome about your chappal? Colorful. protects my feet. Soft. You know what's so awesome about my slipper? What I've noticed about the pair that I put on, it's a companion. Yes, it keeps you safe. What I really observed about these slippers is that they are so loyal that it takes the shape of your foot after some time. They may bite you in the beginning, but after some time, they actually take the shape of your foot. They mold to your foot. So the moment you get out of the house and you try to slip in, you'll kind of make out saying, nah, this is not my chappal, this is not my slipper, this is somebody else. So you know exactly which one belongs to you. Does that resonate with you? Yeah? That's feeling proud to even stand on it. A companion in every journey. All right, let's do something a little more. How many of you wear masks? Do you all like to wear masks? You all have to wear masks. What's so awesome about your mask? No. What's so awesome about your mask? Come on, let's think. What is it? What's so awesome about your mask? It matches my kurta. Yes, it does. But what does it do for you? How does it support you? Saves lives, protects you. Yes. Come on. Need not wear lipstick. Arey wow, Renita. Fantastic. That is so true. Yeah, you don't have to wear sunscreen and lipsticks anymore. You just hides your face. Yes. It does. It does. Warrior to protect you. Yeah, it keeps you safe. I know. It's so awesome. You don't have to worry about how you look, you know. You don't have to worry about pimples. Like I have a daughter and she's about 21 years old. She's got a little bit of pimples and she's just so happy to have masks because she just hides her pimples and she's just happy about that. Hiding my emotions. Yeah. No lipsticks, less expensive. I know. So I had a chance to go to shopping and pick up something which was, I mean, I had a couple of cosmetics, but you know what? I didn't even pick up. It's like, who's going to see it anyways? I'm not going to pick up. It is less expensive. All right. Okay. So just breathe. Just breathe. If you're holding your phone, just keep it in a stable position, somewhere where you don't have to keep holding your phone. Just breathe and just ask yourself, how's your attention right now? Miss Olga? Would you like to tell me, please, how's your attention? How's your attention right now? Is it here or is it anywhere else? Are you completely with me in this moment or are you still getting distracted? And trust me, if you're still getting distracted, that means you've not made that decision to pay focus attention here. Somewhere that willpower is missing. Nobody can distract you if you don't want it to. And if you feel that this session is very important to you, if you feel that this is something that's going to add meaning to you, then you will make sure that you are completely 100% here. Because if you're not 100%, that means you have very weak willpower. The power of will, the power of attention, is coming from a space of a brain which is over here, which is called the executive function. I'm not getting too much technical into it, but this is the part of the brain which actually is like a regulator. It regulates your willpower, your, like I said, your empathy, your patience, the laser-like focus, when to pay attention, making choices, when not to do. All that comes from here. If you still allow yourself to get distracted, that means the first point of intention is not set. You've not told yourself, and you think that this is something which is not important for you. And because you feel that this is not important for you, there's no anchoring, there's no interest. So the mind will go to something which is pulled away with that noise or pulled away with that distraction. Trust me, teachers, if you don't get If you don't understand distraction, if you don't understand that you are responsible for your own mind, you are responsible for that willpower which you have. If this is important for you, you better put 100% of your attention right here, right now. If you don't make that decision, then you know what? Of sort of a flimsy, weak willpower gives you to weak attention, poor attention. Now it's your decision. Because I know children, if they decide, if you notice when they go out and play, when they're playing outside, they are so focused, especially in football and basketball. They're so focused that even if you call their name, they won't hear you. They'll be like, really? Did you call out my name? Because their motivation, if you're looking for what is motivation, if you don't know how to work with your attention, you cannot get motivation. If you want to know what motivation is, if you don't know how to work with your willpower, you will not know what attention is and what focus is, what concentration is. It starts with making a choice. It starts with saying that this is an important session for me. This 9 o'clock work project is very important for me. And I won't allow myself to get distracted. It starts with that decision, my dear teachers. Because attention is what builds everything else. It's like the foundation of the house. It's a foundation of your building, your thinking capacities. If you have a scattered mind or you have a cluttered mind, I know we all have a scattered mind or a cluttered mind. How focused we are, whether we're listening with attention, whether we're responding with patience, all that comes with presence. It all comes with your attention. And it all comes with your decision. Are you 100% with me right now? If you are, go to your chat box and write 100%. If you think willpower, challenge a child and say, you cannot climb this hill. I'll give you whatever you do. I'll give you 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees if you climb. Challenge the child. That willpower is so strong, he'll know how to pay attention. But the problem over here is we're not challenging children's willpower. We're not really working with that executive function. We're not helping them to train. That's why one little sound, one little distraction from the outside, or a thought, it could be even a thought. Oh, I'm sitting over here. I wonder how my hair looks. That's enough for you to get pulled away from something that is meaning to you. Because distraction is an action that pulls you away from something that you really, really want. If this is not something that you really want, it will then take it as a principle. Nobody can help you to pay attention. So paying attention is a decision that comes from you. Is that all right? Thumbs up for that. So that means if a child has had a negative experience, if a child is sitting next to somebody who they don't like, if the child is hungry, if the child is angry, if the child is uncomfortable and feeling unpleasant, if the child is not interested or you are not putting things in that interesting manner, or the content is unrelatable, you know what? He is going to operate from a very poor quality of attention. Yes? So that means you as a teacher have bigger responsibilities. You're not a teacher who is over there going and delivering content. That is not your end result. Trust me, teachers, believe me, it's your mind, your attention versus 30 people's attention. It's your mind against 30 people's minds of 30 children. You're not working with children, you're working with their minds. So before you start with delivering content, start with working with their attention, which is super important. There is a reason why I asked you to stand up and sit down. Why do you think I made you do that? Why do you think I made you do that? Miss Sharon, would you like to take a guess?
To get our attention.
Yes. Why do you think? What does that got to do with you moving?
To make us feel a little more active.
Little more active. Okay. Olga,
to
yes.
get us out of our boredom.
Imagine if I
sit.
ask you, yes. Supposing I ask you to sit like this in one chair, on the chair that you're sitting right now for the next 4 hours, and all you have to do is listen to me. Do you think you will have attention? You'll be able to pay attention for long?
No.
Yes or no?
Definitely not.
So what is?
I may go to sleep.
You may go to sleep. Absolutely. Or you'll start thinking, which is Rajnikant's next.
Mind will wander.
Which is Rajnikant's
Mind will
next
start
picture.
wandering.
Yes, mind will start wandering. It'll either go to the past or it'll go to the future, because that's what the mind does. And when as a teacher, let me ask you this. I've asked this to, I think, through my research, I may have asked about 2,000 teachers to 3,000 teachers what attention means to them. And you know what? Everybody gives me different answers. But the underlining thought that is there with everybody is, when I ask my students to pay attention, I want them to hold that one thought, one sense in one direction at that point of time. That's what they tell me. But tell me, do you think you can actually hold on? Try this out, okay? Right, everybody try this out. I want you to sit straight. Just sit straight. Keep your phone, please, away from your hand so that you don't get distracted. Sit straight. Okay. Awesome. Relax. Take 3 deep breaths. Just relax. Please mute yourself. Anyone who's unmuted, just make sure that your devices are muted. Just relax. And I want you to think about a dinosaur, picture of a dinosaur. And I want you to hold that picture of dinosaur for as long as you can. The moment you can't hold, the moment there's another picture that comes in, just raise your hand softly. Very slowly raise your hand. Pay attention to the dinosaur. Awesome. All right. I can see a couple of you raising your hands. All right. Honestly, how long do you think you could have held that picture? That one picture, how long did you hold? 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Go to your chat box and tell me. 5 seconds. Just approximate number. Ten seconds. Because it is impossible if you are expecting your children to listen to you, to look at you completely from their body and the state of their mind. That is impossible. In fact, when you ask them to pay attention, the more they'll start distracting. That's how our mind is. That's how our mind is. The more you try to think on something, the more it will won't think of that, it'll think of something else. That's how our mind is. So the more you ask them to pay attention, like pay attention, kids, to the subject, they'll think of their PT. They'll think of their food. They'll think of their friends. So paying attention by calling them out and instructing them is not going to work, because it is impossible. And the reason why I asked you to stand up and sit down is, imagine I asked you to sit down on that one chair. You said you'll feel sleepy. You know what? How our children's mind and how our mind is designed? Our mind is, and our mind and our body is actually designed to go out in open space and to explore, to touch, to feel, to listen, to taste. That's how we learn. It is not designed to sit in one place in a closed four wall, sit down in a cubicle place and learn. It is not designed for that. In fact, people, if you look at children, they'll actually pay more attention when you keep them outside. When you place them in an environment, they will be very curious. But if you kind of allow them to settle down and ground them, their attention will be far more sharper. Nature is the best, one of the brilliant way that will know how to anchor our attention. It is not meant. So the moment you sit on one chair for a long time and you expect your children to pay attention, the more the mind starts to move around. Because if the body is moving, the mind will also look at that pace. The moment you sit down and the child is sitting in one place without moving, the mind will start. The speed of the attention will be much faster. So for them to come out, come back, and stay was very, very difficult. Does that resonate with you? Yes, thumbs up if it does. So that means practice number 1 is keep movements in your class. Something that allows them to move their bodies, even if it means it's adults, even if it means you're working with, let's say, the older children, it's fine. Move. Because the moment you move, the mind will settle down. The mind will anchor itself. Okay, let me ask you a question, okay? Do you know what is grounding? I've used 2 words, anchoring and grounding. Do you know what grounding actually means? When do we use the word grounding? I think the men will know. Mr. Dipesh, are you here? When do you use the word grounding? Mr. Dipesh is, I think, not on a seat.
He is here,
Praveen,
ma'am.
are you around?
Yeah,
Oh,
He's here. He's here. He's come on the screen.
What's
okay,
that?
Mr. Dipesh. I didn't know you're not on your seat, but I just
Sorry.
thought I'll tickle you a little bit.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so grounding. Where do you actually hear that concept?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, there's this idea that idea about electrical energies and so on and so forth, that people walk barefoot on the ground
Yes.
to make sure that there's sufficient grounding that happens and so on. So I think that's a reference to that. I think, yeah.
It could be anything. It could be anything. So yeah, so he's right. So grounding is a terminology that you use in the electrical space, where they ground the wires. So when you're giving electricity, they ground the wires and then they hook up to it. Yeah. So they say, okay, grounding nahi hua hai, or grounding, theek nahi hai. So it's an important thing. So when you say grounding, what does it do? It's basically nothing but regulating your energy. So in fact, Mother Nature, in fact, if you look at a Gurukul system, the way we learned, and this is something that I always advise my teachers, they get their children to sit on the seats. There's nothing wrong with it. But even if they are, then let them touch their feet without their socks on the floor and get them to study. It's magical. You will be surprised how beautifully they'll start paying attention. Because Mother Nature does that automatically. It's beautiful. So in fact, people who sit down on the floor and eat, sit down on the floor and study, you will see that they are able to pay more attention to you. If that is possible in your classroom, try that. I have done it with my classrooms, with my students. If they're sitting on the chair, I give them an option and I said, do you want to sit on the chair? Do you want to sit on the floor? Kids come jumping saying, we want to sit on the floor. But if they want to sit on the chair because of some reason, I tell them, remove your socks, remove your shoes, place your feet and feel the coolness of the ground before we begin. So it's preparing them to ground their attention, because that's what Earth actually does. It beautifully regulates and somewhere, equalizes the attention and keeps it into that state, equilibrium state. Yes. So practice number 1. Yeah. Okay. Now let me just go back to my PPT. Before we do that, let me ask you, how are you feeling right now? How's your attention right now? How are you feeling right now? Just say that. Okay, go to your chat box, please. How are you feeling right now? How are you feeling right now?
Good.
Awesome. Remember, I'm just doing a quick recap. Remember, paying attention is a choice. It requires willpower and it requires practice. So intention, skill, practice. 3 things which you have to know. If the child does not want to pay attention to you, you can never change his willpower. So that means your connection, your relationship is very, very important for him to even decide to pay attention to you. If he doesn't like you, if you don't like me, you'll never pay attention. And nobody can make you like me. And nobody can make you pay attention to my class. So that intention, so me as a teacher, it is my responsibility to create that atmosphere or create an environment where you will like me. I become likable to you. That's when you will even reach their willpower. Then comes the rest. Do you agree with me? Yes, no? Hands up if you do. Quickly, hands up if you do. Hands up if you do. Awesome. Okay. Are you in a mood to play a game and to do a practice? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to listen to music? Do you like music? Can we work on our attention through music? Yes. Okay. I'm just going to infuse some activities here because we will build on the concept as we know. Okay. All right. So is there a way to share my music? Okay. So since you like music, computer audio, share. Okay. All right. So just tell me, can you see my screen, guys? Can you see my screen? Yes? Yes or no? You can't see my screen?
No.
No. Okay. But can you hear this music?
No.
Now?
We can see you.
Now can you hear?
them? Yes, yes. We
Can you hear the
music.
music?
No.
Awesome. No.
No.
It started and it stopped.
I know. I stopped it. Guys, I just stopped it. I just wanted to see if you can hear it. Okay. All right. So we're working on our attention right now. Okay. So what do we do? Are we just going to listen to this song? I'm going to play my favorite song. Do you like Lucky Ali? Do you like Lucky Ali? I like Lucky Ali. I think it's just so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Lucky Ali's song. Okay. And I want you to completely set the intention. Okay. So intent is I'm going to be listening to something. It's a music piece in this case. And I will be doing this to sharpen my attention. That is your intention. So that means you're setting that intention to use that will to be in that state. Okay. So that is your intention. Number 2 is there are multiple instruments that are going to be played in the song, multiple ones. So there's flute, there's piano, there's a banjo that's going to be played. You will pick up one instrument, okay, and just listen and follow that instrument throughout. Is that okay? Yeah. So if you follow the guitar, you'll just follow the guitar. If you're looking at following the piano, just follow. Your mind will wander, it will move away, it will get distracted. But when it does, you just bring it back. You just pay complete attention to that instrument that you hear. Is that all right with everybody? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, and enjoy this. Okay, because a lot of times when you force people to pay attention, you're actually driving them away. I'm not forcing you to pay attention. I'm teaching you how to invite that invitation to come in. Okay, so I'm going to play the music. If you want to close your eyes, please close your eyes because it is just going to help you to shut down all the external sensory that may distract you. So that stimulations is going to allow you to just shut down. So just shut down. Just completely pay attention to whatever you choose to do. Okay? Can we begin? All right. So, which is the instrument that you followed? My apologies. This is not Lucky Ali. This is another track, which I again love. But so, how's your attention right now? What did you pay attention to? And could you follow that instrument? I just want to know.
The voice.
The voice. Could you follow the voice? Could you remain on that voice for a long time?
Yes.
Yes.
How are you going to do this in your classrooms? The way you're going to do this in your classroom is, I know you can't play music, but what you can do is ask kids to actually just close their eyes and listen to the sounds in their room. Faraway sounds, nearby sounds, unexpected sounds, moving sounds. And just listen very closely and follow those sounds. You can time it to 60 seconds, that is a minute. If you can do it for 2 minutes if you have time. But the moment you ask them to follow these sounds with intention, complete attention, you are sharpening a skill. This is how you can do. There are other ways of doing it. We'll come to that. But let me ask you, how are you feeling right now? How's your body feeling right now? Is it agitated?
Relaxed.
Is it restless? Relax. Go to the chat box, please.
Relaxed.
Go to the chat box and write. Feeling relaxed? Relaxation, there's actually a research done on that when you relax your mind, the quality of your attention is a lot more stronger. If you're not relaxed with your mind in the head, then your attention is again very fragmented. Okay, so this is just a feeling. I want you to feel how it is and see how it is right now with your attention. Now, just bringing your sight on this. If you can just mute yourself, please, guys.
Don't try to record everyone as I think.
Can you please mute yourself if that's possible? Relaxed, pleasant, very calm, very relaxed. Okay. So now bringing your attention to something which is important. I don't want to throw in words saying, what is attention, definition of attention? But I think it'll make sense to you right now. If you look at this picture, what do you see? You see a guy swimmers. And if any of you are swimmers, you know what it actually takes for you to cut through that water. I'm not a swimmer, but anyways. So basically, when you're swimming, you're using your parts of your body to kind of push forward. You're cutting through the water. And most importantly, what you're doing is allowing that concentration to come in. Now, if you're looking at focus as a definition, if you want to know what attention actually means, write down this formula. Attention, in this case of swimming, is the skill that you use. That means the way you move your hand, the way you move your foot, the way you work around with your body, that is attention. Concentration is when a swimmer is swimming, because there is a difference between attention, focus, and concentration. Not many people know about it. Now, concentration is, supposing your swimmer is swimming and it's a competitive sort of a place, okay? And there is one person who's maybe swimming on the next lane, in his own lane. He just shouts out saying, hey, look. And the moment you shift your gaze, you've lost your speed. That's distraction. Yeah. So, or there is a thought that comes to your mind saying, oh my gosh, I wonder where I am. So if you look at competitors, if you look at athletes, if you look at swimmers, like professional swimmers, when they start, they reach the point, they reach the end point, then they look back and see where I am, because they're in a state of flow. Now, if I have to give you a simple one for all of you, if you want to know what the formula is for focus, if you want your children to focus, if you want you to be focused, write down this formula. Attention plus concentration equals focus. That means if you don't know what attention is, if you don't know how to concentrate, concentration is basically hold on, like holding on to your lane, staying on your lane. You know there is a distraction that's happening, may come, may not come, but you are just doing what you're supposed to do. That's concentration. It's like holding on equals focus. And you're looking at that end point. All your senses are in that end point, looking at the finishing line. That is focus. Now, if that does resonate with you, give me a thumbs up on the screen so that I know. Yeah, if it resonates with you. So, what is attention? Now, I think the meaning will be maybe more relatable to you. So, attention is like a lens that you use. I'm going to give you these practice. You already used like 2 practice actually for your attention. Attention is basically, this is for simpler word, ability to dismiss unimportant things. So that means you're sitting right here, and there are 3-4 sounds that's coming to your way, it's distracting you. Your ability to kind of move that away and concentrate on what you are meant to do. That is what concentration and focus is. When you know how to work with your attention, you know how to concentrate, you will learn how to focus. To remain attentive and to move your distraction, your willpower, that decision is very, very, very important. Your relationship with your teachers, with of course, their relationship with you is very, very important. So take attention as like a combination of, let's say, a spotlight and a vacuum cleaner. So whatever you place your attention to, it actually extracts information from there and it sucks into your brain. So that's how I would like to put that across. Now, coming to something which is important, I'm just going to ask all of you to see how much you know. What do you think is our attention span? What do you think is children's attention span? Or what is our attention span? What do you think? How many seconds, how many minutes is our attention span? Switch on, everybody, please switch on your cameras. Switch on. Come on. What is our attention span? Come on. Jasmine, tell me, what is the attention span?
I feel it depends on what we are attending. Suppose we are watching a movie. Because suppose you're watching a movie, we'll be attentive throughout. We won't be distracted.
Because it's interesting, right? It's interesting.
So it depends on what you're attending. If it's interesting, our attention span will be more. And if it's boring, it will be just, we won't pay attention at all.
Yes, that's for sure. But on an average, when you are, let's say, doing some work, not watching a movie, but you're doing your work, what do you think is the attention span?
I think 10 minutes.
10 minutes? What about the others? Rita says 20 minutes. Do you know why do we have 40 minutes class? Why do we have a 40 minutes class? Why do you think we have 40 minutes class? We all have 40 minutes class, right? 35 to 40 minutes class.
To recollect what they have learned.
No. When the education system was formulated, at that point of time, kids had attention. They could hold their attention for 40 minutes. That's the reason why it's 40 minutes. At that point of time, when there were no gadgets, when there were parents, where they could touch, they could feel, there was play. At that point of time, they could hold on and pay attention for 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. That's why we have a 40 minutes class. Unfortunately, even now, we still have that. Okay, now what is the attention span? Okay, do you all watch YouTube? Videos on YouTube, yes or no? Yeah? Now, when you're watching a YouTube video, do you see these nagging, ads that come up? Yeah? How long are these ads?
15 seconds.
How many?
15 seconds sometimes.
2 to 3 minutes? No.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. 15 seconds. Okay, mute. Okay, go to your chat box as much as possible. Few seconds. What is that, few seconds? So the ads, those nagging ones, are for at least 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 8 seconds. That's exactly how they are. And you know what, my dear teachers, that's exactly what our attention span is. Of course, it's an average one. For some, it could be for a minute. For some, it could be 5 minutes. So I actually did a test, an attention, kind of testing. There's a device that is there. So I actually tested. So my attention span was about 7 minutes. and after doing meditation. So the guy who was testing me actually told me, ma'am, you have very good attention. Nobody has so much attention. I said, yes, my dear, because I meditate. That's the reason why I could even concentrate completely. So it's basically, it's like a hook that you hook onto your mind, and then there's a card that goes in and things like that. So I don't know if it's available here, but I did do that. So attention span of an adult is not, for some poor cases, for 3 seconds, average 5, sometimes even 7. And this is a research that's been done. Kids, in fact, have more attention span than us. And if they're playing, if they are close to nature, their ability to concentrate, that means hold, is far better than an adult. But we don't know. Now, does that surprise you? Does that surprise you? Yes? Now, so important it is with attention to work with the attention. It is so important. The reason why it is important, because attention is the leader of your brain. Wherever your attention goes, the rest of your body follows. Your emotions, your memories follows. And the spectacular magic behind this skill is that it is movable, it is trainable, you can train it. Okay, can we try an exercise? Do you want to try this exercise? Yeah, about focused attention. Let's try. Okay, so if some of you have problems with your neck, don't try this. If you can, try this to challenge it, because this is training your attention and we're looking at focused attention right now. So do you have a pen? Have you seen kids doing this? Have you seen kids doing this? You do this? Or kids doing this? Have you seen that? Okay, listen to me.
Yes.
This is a focused attention exercise. They are just so beautiful. They're just working. Every time they do this, they're actually training on their focus. But we're not going there. What I want you to do is, I want you to place this pen either here, for some of you if it's easier, but some of you, if you want to challenge yourself, keep it in the bridge of your nose, okay, and move your neck. But if you have problems with your neck and if you feel it's uncomfortable, then don't go for it. Just keep it over here, okay? If that is also uncomfortable, if you feel that is very uncomfortable, pick up a book. Now I'm telling you how to train your attention, okay? Pick up a book, keep it on your head, like this, okay? So whatever is convenient for you. So this is a sort of a light note book, just keep it. But if you want a challenge, do this. So hear me out, what you have to do. Okay, so pick up your props right now. Get ready for this exercise. Mrs. Fernandez has already started her exercise. Okay, hear me out, okay? Now you're going to train your focused attention. What you have to do is, if you're placing your pen over here, the point where the pen is stable in between your nose and your lip, that's where you're going to place your attention. If you're keeping it over here, you're going to keep it to a point where this pen balances your bridge. That means 1 point, okay? If you're using a book, then you keep it on your book, on your head, and the point where it balances. You're just going to close your eyes, complete attention right there. Okay, I'm going to do it with you. 60 seconds, complete attention there. Every time your mind wanders, goes into thoughts, just bring it back to the weight of the book, to the point where the pen is, or a pencil is balancing, just bring it back. Your mind will wander. It wants to get out, but just hold on. Hold your attention as if you are putting a spotlight on that weight, on that pen. Because the more you do that, you're training your ability to concentrate. If there are distractions, if there are sound, and your mind and your thought just goes there, attention goes there, just bring it back and say, okay, it's gone. I'll just now bring back my attention to the point where I have chosen as my anchoring point. And I let it rest there so I can make my attention more stronger, more sharper, and restore it to the best of its health. Ten more seconds. Spotlight to the weight. Feel the difference. See how your body is responding to a stable attention. All right. So the count of 3, you can come out of this practice. 3, 2, 1. Very slowly. Take your props out, keep them aside. And don't be in a hurry. Just reflect on how this exercise was for you. Praveen, how was it for you? You were doing it, I think. You kept it on your fridge.
Yeah. I could, kind of relaxed. Mind is at one point, and I was trying to, there was some sound close by, but I was trying to bring my mind out of it and concentrate on what I was doing.
Yeah, you were able to.
Yeah.
You were able to dismiss those distractions.
Yes,
right?
yes. Initially, it was a bit difficult, but after a while, I got used to it. I was able to concentrate on this point. There's some construction was happening here, but still that didn't disturb me at the end of the activity.
Yes, that's because you had the intention, and secondly, you had a prop that is there, so you were just grounding your attention so you could bring it back. Yeah, but the good news is that you can bring it back. Okay. Attention doesn't mean, when you say pay attention, doesn't mean that you will be in that state for long. Nothing stays in that state for long. It's all about up and down. Your attention also goes up, it's high and comes down. Goes up, it's like a wave. So our duty is to somewhere get them to be on a play mode. So what I call is that our attention is like a recorder, like a remote control. It can go backward or it can go forward. Our duty as a teacher is to put them on a play mode. A play mode is very relaxed mode. A play mode is I want to pay attention to you mode. That mode comes with certain exercises. So like for example, when we appreciated something, when our mind is designed to look at things that are negative, we are changing the state of the mind to something more positive. And when you are talking about, say, let's say stories and positive state of mind, your attention will come back because the attention will somewhere move from a negative state to a positive state. So that's number 1. Number 2 is music, using sounds around you. If you can just allow breaks to come into your classrooms. If you're teaching English, just include one, you can call it focus break, you can call it attention break, you can call it that. 2 minutes of attention break. You can begin, especially when you're beginning your class, before you start your syllabus or your class, whatever you want to do, 2 minutes of attention break there. And maybe towards the end, when you feel like kids need that attention again, they need to somewhere bring back their attention because there's a bit of heaviness, maybe the content is heavy or the content is not engaging. Sometimes we don't have control on that. Then you can use it somewhere in the middle or towards the end. It's up to you. Minimum is include at least 1 minute. If you can't include 2 minutes, 1 minute of attentional breaks. In that attention break, you ask kids to just keep everything down, okay, and close your eyes, keep your back straight because Your attention is also something that's coming from your nervous system. I'm not getting too technical, but it's a play of the mind. So keep your back straight, keep your hands, in a dignified posture in whatever ways that is. Icebreakers are good as well. Icebreakers just allows you to ground the attention, so you can use them. But here is sustaining the attention. That's what we're coming up to. And training the attention. So that's where we're looking. Ice breaking is more like bringing the attention back right now. Like, I'm happy, I feel it right now. But you're not training. So training is like you're going to the gym and doing something which is heavy. You're lifting weights so that you can make that muscle stronger, because attention is like a muscle that is stronger. When you use ice breaking, then yes, you bring your attention here, but once you bring here, then what do you train? How do you do to make it stronger? This is how you do to make it stronger. So one is restore, bring it back, then you get them to exercise. So for example, listen to 3 sounds around you, right? Or listen to faraway sounds around you. So the music thing that we did was to actually look at the music and sounds, use your sounds. The third is use props, whatever props that you want, book, pencil. The other way of doing it is, I pick up a book and I pick up something which is lightweight and heavyweight and just say, let's take a break and let's just refocus. Let's just allow our mind to come back to the now. Let's be present to what's coming our way. We're going to be doing a worksheet and let's just prepare ourselves to do that worksheet. So what I want you to do is close your eyes, pick up one heavy, some light notebook. I want you to now close your eyes and bring your attention to something that's heavy. Complete attention, 30 seconds there. Now move your attention to something that is light, which is, in my case, I'm holding a phone. See how it is there. Now see if you can bring your attention to both these weights. So when you do that, you're training it. You're training your attention to make it more stronger. These are contemplative practices. Trust me, they look so ordinary, but they are extraordinarily magical skills that you can use. It's fabulous if you do that. I've done this for many years, so I can vouch for it. All right, so if you are here and paying attention to me, go and to the chat box and write on, O-N, quickly. If you're with me, write on. I'm going to show you my tool now, okay? So I'm going to get into tool. This is something that I developed, and I think you guys should get it. If you want to get it, it's available on our website. But I think this is very important as well. Okay, so this is something which I want you to just read. Okay. Now, once you read this, I'm coming to what harms children's attention. So what really harms children's attention? I love this quote. Okay, this is not really there, but I'll put it over here. So information overload. So that means if you have like a heavy subject that you are teaching and you're going on, which is very content heavy, you know what? The attention is going to be very diluted, because today we are all overloaded with information, text, content. It's very heavy. And you know what? Our brains don't respond. Our attention doesn't respond to something that's heavy. Okay, I'm not going too technical to it, but that's how it is. Too much of gadgets. I think this is something that you already know. Distractions. So if you feel that there is distractions in your environment, and if you feel that this needs to be sorted out, then create the environment where children can concentrate. Don't put them into an environment which is noisy and expect them to just pay attention without training them. Or if you think that you really can't do much about the noise because the classroom is close to the playground and you feel that you can't, then it is your responsibility to get them to train their attention. Yeah. So even emotional, unpleasant thoughts really pulls them away from their attention. It kind of plays them. So for example, a friend didn't talk to them. Like it happens to us as well, right? You're walking on the street or you're walking into your classroom, you're walking into a corridor, a colleague looks at you but misses, greeting, and he doesn't even look at you and go back. And then the whole time you're like thinking, why didn't she greet? Why didn't she talk to me? Why is it that, this person didn't? And then the mind kind of starts ruminating and gets into things like, oh, I think she doesn't like me. Maybe I've said something which is wrong and blah, 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 blah. So unpleasant thoughts pull away your attention. Yeah. Stress and busyness. So when you're very stressed and you're very busy about something, then that too also takes away your attention. So that means you have to calm down. You have to deliberately just pause. So just look at that. Children, when they're hungry and sleepy, they can't pay attention as well. Moods. Now, what is moods? Moods for me is, imagine that you have a colleague or a friend or a distant relative who actually comes and they say, you know what, I'm just going to come and stay with you for a day because it's holiday, and they actually end up staying for a week. Does that happen to you? Thumbs up if you do, because I can't see your chats here right now. Okay, thumbs up if you do. Yeah. So day one, you're very happy. You're very happy. You make biryani, you make pulao, and second day you're like, okay, I'll make dal and I'll make chawal. Third day you're like, what is this? Fourth day, by fifth day you're like, you know what? Sort things out yourself. So moods are like those irritating relatives who come but just refuses to go. And the difference between emotion and mood, they're two different concepts, by the way. As teachers, you need to know this. Feeling is, supposing if somebody has upset you, then you'll be able to say, I'm feeling angry because my father didn't talk to me. You'll be able to understand that. Mood is, I don't know why I just feel so angry and so upset. I don't know why. That is a mood. Yeah. And kids have moods that are up and down as well, especially when they're hungry, when they're angry. And when there's a mood which is fluctuating, their attention is also going to fluctuate. So this is just a few things for you. The exercise that you're doing right now is actually proven to even regulate mood and mood disorders. Scientifically is what I'm saying. Multitasking, yes, you cannot, your attention is not very powerful when you are multitasking. That is something that you need to know. Our brain is designed to do one thing at one point of time. So when you're focusing on your breath, you just focus on your breath. When you're working on your worksheet, just work on your worksheet. People can multitask, so they may have placed their attention in 2-3 different things, different ways. But what really happens is, especially with younger children, younger teachers who are working with younger people, their attention, when they're placing continuous attention on one thing in partial ways, that means there is a child who is drawing your attention, pinching, and there's another child who is also throwing books at somebody. There's another. So when your attention is like scattered in different ways and continuously you're placing attention, it causes fatigue, especially for you as teachers. Sometimes you don't even know why you are stressed out. So a lot of teachers actually tell me, why am I stressed out? I don't know why. I'm just so tired. Because your attention is placed on 3-4 things at one point of time. So that is continuous partial attention. That creates a lot of stress in you. So overloading space, yes, I've spoken about space. So the more smaller the space, the more scattered your attention is. So we tend to pay attention to a lot of bigger. So this is just for you. Now, this is the scale that I want you to understand. So we're coming down to the last part of this presentation, which is ABCs. Number one is be aware of your attention. You can actually use the scale. This is something that I designed, which is a part of a tool that we give to schools, where they can make attention training in a sort of a playful process. So you're not going to compromise on your presentations. You're not compromising on what you want to do, but you can actually make it very, very playful. So this is what it is. This is just one of the charts. This is called the attention frequency scale. And this is basically, if you notice, you have a snail and you have a monkey. So your snail is the speed of your attention. How's your attention right now? How's your body right now? Because for a body, for a child, they sense that attention through their bodies. Okay. So then with monkey, that means your body is very, very restless. It's too stimulated. And the panda is like a neutral, balanced attention. I'm feeling more calm, just like the way you felt when you heard that song, that Mola Wala song. You were relaxed, you were calm, you were grounded. That's the panda sort of state that we want you to be in and you want your children to be in. If you notice the emotions, which is happy, lazy, if you notice, they're mixed. I haven't mixed it up as negative and positive. In fact, they all come together. But a lazy, bored, relaxed, neutral, tired are emotions with low energy, because you can't really work at a mind level. You have to work at an emotional level as well. So when you're unhappy, when you're tired, you don't feel like doing anything. The energy is very, very slow. And when you're proud, when you're jealous, when you're excited, when you feel rejected, when you're angry, when you're uneasy, the energy is very, very fast. So the reason why it goes up is because we want you to lift their energy up a little, because children learn equals to attention, and attention equals to energy that you put in. So if you're in a very low energy, if you're putting it across in a very low energy sort of way, okay, children, pick up your book. All right, I want you to open page number 5 and do that. You know what? Their attention is just going to get, scattered and get diverted to something more interesting. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to build up that energy through exercises. And if you want to come down, which is great, proud, joy, the higher sort of energy, you will have to slow them down. So there's fast movement, there's slow movement. So when children are in your class, you'll have children who are probably tired, who needs a lot of pumping up. There are some children who will be probably very, very restless and moving quite a bit. So you have to slow them down. So the best way to do this is to put this chart up and tell them where you are on that attention scale. Yeah. So you may be 2, you may be 5, you may be 8. So let me just ask this to people. So where are you on the attention scale? I can't see the chat when I'm like this. All right. If you've seen the attention scale, okay, where are you on the attention scale? Right now, where are you on the attention scale? Write down. How are you feeling? Would you like me to just put that up and share that screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay, there you go. Where are you right now? Because I want to see the chat. I don't see the chat otherwise. Where are you on your attention scale? Are you on a 2? Are you on a 5? Or are you on a 9 or 10? Whatever. There's nothing right and wrong about it. Just pick up. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Pick up a number that resonates with you right now. Put it on the chat box, please. I'm going to come back to them. Come on, put it on the chat box. Those emotions are just allowing you to, supporting you to pinpoint what you're feeling right now. And you know what? Attention, emotions are very human experience. A lot of times we have no control on them. But yes, we are in charge of them and we can bring them back if we want to. So I'm going to stop sharing right away and see what we are, where we are. 6, 8, 7, 8. Ranita is 5. Okay. So we have a lot of high energies here. Huh? 8, 7. What about the others? Where are you guys? Where are you guys? How is your attention right now? We are 29 of us. Martha? Is Martha around?
She's in a meeting, ma'am. She's gone for a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, she's coming. She's running to the seat now.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Martha. I just wanted to know how your attention is right now. Take a break. You've just, wait. You've just come from a meeting.
Yeah.
Take a break. Take 3 deep breaths. Because we don't want you to have your mind there, but the body is here. And you're forcing yourself to say how you're feeling. No, prepare yourself. And when you're ready, then you say. Whenever you're ready.
Yes. I don't know, maybe like 0 to 10.
In 0 to 10, what is your?
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe,
I think she missed that.
Yeah. Maybe 1, 5, maybe 5.
5. 5. Okay, so you're like a panda then in that case.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do another exercise. Is that okay? Oh, time for. Is it time now for Q&A? Oh, it's already 10 minutes. Okay, can we just do one exercise before Q&A, please? Is that okay?
Fine. Yeah. No. Go on. We can have one more. Yeah.
we'll do like one exercise, which is a simple one. Okay, so what I want you to do is, so because we are doing a focused attention is like, imagine it as a torchlight and you're putting your torch on one thing. So the moment you kind of train that, you're training your mind to come in the now right here. So this is the exercise that you have to do. It's a very simple one. Okay, you can get this to do with children. You can do it with this finger point. You can get them to do with all finger. And if you notice, a lot of celebrities and leaders, if you notice, they're especially the way they hold their hands when they're talking, it's like this. It's in the center. And you'll see that. And they do this because they are anchoring their attention. Okay, you'll either see them doing this, you'll either see them doing this. Okay, or this. You'll either see them doing that. So that is because they have training or trained their mind to stay in the now, and they know exactly how to absorb that moment through their contact. So, but to kind of give you a simple sort of thing, I want you to just bring in your 2 index fingers like this. And there's a contact between the skin, between two points. Okay, just press them a little hard in case if your attention is too diluted, if it's too fragmented. But if you feel that your attention is relaxed, then just make it a little light. So just close your eyes and bring your attention to the point in between between this index finger, 2 index fingers. Intention is over here. Decide that I am going to allow my attention to rest on the points. If you want to keep your eyes open, it's fine. Your mind will wander. In fact, it is meant to wander. 40% of our working time is what our mind actually wanders. And a wandering mind is an unhealthy mind, an unhappy mind. When you bring your mind to a simple exercise like this, you are allowing your attention to go into the play mode. Now move your attention. I'm just continuing this exercise. You can put your hands down if you want to, but if you want to remain over here, it's fine. Just bring your attention to your breath. There are points in the body where you can feel your breath. So either you can feel the air in and out on the nostrils, or you can feel the air moving, entering your body and your chest moving to your breath, or you can also feel it on your tummy over here. So wherever you feel the breath, just leave your hand there if you want to, okay? And just see which is the point that is moving to your breath the most. So wherever you can feel it, just place your hand there. Any of these 3. Or if you want to do this, this is an easiest way. Just rest your attention there. Feel the temperature of your breath and feel the sharpness of the breath of the air as you breathe in and the smoothness of the air as you breathe out. Or if you've placed your hand here, just pay attention to how your chest or your abdomen is moving to your breath. That point, just pay attention there. If your mind is too distracted, you can take 5 breaths, and as you exhale, just count them. So every exhalation, count them as 1 to 5. Five breaths. as you exhale. Awesome. So whenever you're ready, you can come out of this practice whenever you want. Mrs. Fernandez, how was it for you? Oh, we can't hear you. You had some problems, I think, with your board, with your sound.
She can type on the chat box if you want.
Can you please type? Okay, so we have question and answers. So please go ahead and write your question and answers. If you have any questions and answers for me, I will be happy to give that to you. Now, you can train your attention in a lot of ways. These are contemplative ways, which is basically strengthening those, I would say, neurowirings of your brain. So it's a little more deeper and more sustainable. So these are, the practices are very simple, sounds very and looks very ordinary, but trust me, they are magical if you actually believe in them. And if you cannot, becoming that A, so the ABC is being aware of your attention, where you are, and the breathing that we just did is bringing it back, and C is just staying with that breath. So staying with those 5 breaths, staying with the sound, staying with that touch point is just there. Yeah, so that's how you restore your attention. Sounds very simple, but trust me, it is magical, like I said. Yeah, so thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to take them.
Participants, you can unmute your mic and ask your questions, because typing might take time. If you have any problem with your mics, fine, you can type your question in the chat, please, or else you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
No questions.
I think if nobody is asking a question, let me start off. How do you, I mean, as a teacher, how do we balance between creating this sense of attention and the sense of being mindful of what is happening and so on, with the need to also switch off and switch on between what has to be done in the classroom, and sometimes just chill and just go with the flow and so on. I mean, there is at some level there seems to be a contradiction between going with the flow and actually focusing your attention on what is required to be done. So how do you balance that is what I'm asking.
So when you are in the flow, that means you're already focused. So imagine you're painting and you love painting. It's something that you enjoy. And when you start doing that, you're already in the flow. So that is where you are very, very focused. Now, how can you begin? Now, this is something which is best understood when you do it yourself. So number one is take today, if you can spend some time today, tomorrow, just do these practices and bring these practices. You can Google some practices out as well, which are available all on the net. Just try to understand what this concept is from your space, like from you, like how do you actually understand that concept? And these are things which are best understood when you implement it in your own life. So number one, you can do that. Number two is understand that your kids don't label them on being not paying attention. Don't think that they're distracted. Don't think that they don't want to pay attention, or it's nothing of that sort. They want to pay attention. They just don't know how to do that. So you create environments like, for example, a non-distracted environment, and then those 2 minutes of break that we spoke about. When you enter the class, you understand, just like the way I did with Martha. Like I understood Martha was in a meeting. She's come. She was going to say, I said, no, just relax, just pause, take 3 deep breaths. Now, when you're ready, you tell me. So creating that transition time, because a lot of times you don't even realize that kids need time to make that transition from an English to a Hindi to English, or even home to school, school to home. Understand that it is quite a painful thing for them. So just take that and say, okay, we're going to begin the class today. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. We're going to listen to 3 sounds. We're going to touch 3 things. So using those strategies, just ground their attention, get them to sit down. So the moment you start doing that, you'll be able to kind of understand how this concept works in a classroom.
So any more questions from the audience, participants?
Ma'am, like I have a question for you. How would you handle rebellion and when you're during the attention span sessions? Okay, rebellion in class, right?
Somebody who's rebelling.
Yeah, if there are people not doing what you're saying, right?
Oh, okay. When you ask, give me a little more specific example. Whoever that is, I can't see you. Who's this?
No, this is
It's
Divya.
Oh, Divya.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Divya.
No,
Hi,
how would you?
Divya.
Yeah, hi.
Okay.
Like, how would you handle rebellion in class, like during your attention span sessions? Okay.
These are not attention span sessions. So please don't get me wrong. You don't have to have like one session or attention. You just have to bring them as a part of your teaching practices. You do what you're supposed to do, but just bring these practices so that you can ground people's attention or children's attention. So it's not like one attention class that you have to do. Okay, you just have to bring it as a part of your natural content delivery. Okay, so whatever you're doing. So that's number one. Now, somebody who is not listening to you. Okay, so the child could be rebelling. So when you say rebelling, is he's not doing anything what you're asking you to do, or he's arguing back? How do you say that?
He's not doing what you're like. He's not doing that. Like, if you ask him to close your eyes, he's not doing that.
So there could be multiple reasons. Okay, he or she. So it could be multiple reasons. Number one is, have you heard about ADD and ADHD?
Yeah, attention deficit
hyper disorder.
syndrome. Yeah.
Okay. So when that syndromes and those terminologies came up, the first thing I told all psychologists. Now I have somebody who's also led workshops for faculty of psychology in different colleges. The first thing I told these psychologists is there's nothing called ADD and ADHD. And after a few years after that, we get an article saying there's nothing called ADD and ADHD because there is no problem, scientifically, clinically, no problem. It is just that these kids need anchoring exercises and practices. It's just that they need to know how to work with their attention. Like I'll give you an example. Okay, I do a lot of counseling. I'm going to do this quickly so that you can move on to your next session. So there was this one child who was very anxious and who was rebelling, who was fighting, and she was in her 10th grade and she never listened to her parents. She was arguing. She never did want to do anything. She in fact refused to go to the exams, that kind of person. And before that, the parents had taken her to a lot of multiple psychologists. And they said, the psychologists, like what they do, psychiatrists and psychologists, they gave her medication and they said she's got depression. So this child was like, I have depression, ma'am. I don't know what to do and things like that. The moment I spoke to her, I spoke to the mother and I said, please, if you can, speak to the doctor, get her out of that medication because she doesn't need medication. She doesn't need anything. Her biggest problem of rebelling, of arguing, unhappiness, anxiety is actually her mind. Because her IQ levels are so high, with IQ levels, what happened? The mind is really, really fast. It's speeding. And for her mind was so fast that her emotions, that means the other part of the brain was actually slow. That's what the brain does. When part of the brain becomes strong, the other becomes very weak. It's like anyone who loses a sense of smell, then they'll be able to see better. There are a lot of researches that happens. So I said, it is not anxiety. You're treating her in the wrong way. It's not something that she needs. She needs practices to slow down her IQ. So from that high IQ, bring her down to a little lower IQ, because that's where her remedy is. So when a child is not listening to you, the child could be super intelligent. That's why he's not listening to you, because he is quick in grasping things. So he wants it faster, right? Or the mind is much faster than what he is, or his body is very restless, or emotionally it is like that, or maybe the class is not interesting. You have to figure out the reason why and then give him those practices that suiting his requirement. Yeah, but trust me, one thing, thumb rule over here is, if a child is rebelling, he needs something. He needs something. Emotionally, physically, learning, he needs something. You need to know why and what does he need and address that. Okay. But to begin with, you can also ask him to take these 3 deep breaths. It works. Say, okay, you don't want to do this? Fine, no problem. You don't want to do your homework? No problem. Let's do something. Let's get you to sit down here. This is a chair. Take 3 deep breaths. When you're ready, you can do that. And of course, there are consequences that comes in, but that's all later. Divya, I hope that answered your questions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Hope we don't have time to take any more questions. So now I ask Dr. Deepesh to post the feedback link in the chat. Yeah, it has come. So the participants, please access the link and fill in the feedback form. So you'll get your certificate as well. So with that, next session will start exactly at 11:30. So people who would like to attend that session, I want you to be ready at 11:30. So now I ask Dr. Shamla Bharati ma'am to propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Ms. Shamla, we can't hear
Yeah,
you. Yeah, okay.
yeah, great, mom. It was a wonderful session. If I'm right, like at the start of the session introduction, you said it's very difficult to get a connect to the audience, especially as teacher, trainer to the students. But with you, we had an instant connect. Okay, giving this as a genuine compliment, I would like to give the the vote of thanks. We have immense pleasure and thanking the resource person with Fathima Khader for making the program more interactive and more interesting for our teacher participant. Next, I would like to thank all the participants for their involvement and the willingness to learn and take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zone. Thank you once again, all of you, for making the session a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, can I, if that's okay with you, I just want to know quickly on the chat box, did you like today's class? Because I know this is it can get complicated, but I've tried to make it as simple as possible. If you want to know more, then you can always pick up this book because this is all on attention. So you can pick up that book if you want. But I just want to know, how was it for you? Did you enjoy? Did you pick up at least one thing?
Audience,
please remember.
Audience, please unmute and answer ma'am's question.
Oh, you can unmute. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
At least remember, when you're reaching out to the phone and when you want to pay attention, then remember you are escaping something. You're fooling yourself. So no excuses. When you've decided on doing something, you better do it. If you've decided to exercise and lose that weight, we have 101 excuses that we can allow ourselves to come in, that it shows willpower, which is weak. If you've decided, you better do it because you're exercising a very important facet of attention. Very informative, useful, interesting. Yes, yes. All right. Okay. So with that, on that note, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And you're a wonderful crowd. I really just wish that you could have interacted a little more and I could see your lovely faces. So I could only see a few. Divya, thank you so much. And Sherry, thank you so much.
Bye. So, well, shall we close the session now? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, all participants. You may leave the session now. So we'll come back at 11:30 for the next session.